Okay,
Okay,
Evelyn. You have to unmute, Evelyn. You're muted. Evelyn, okay, there you go.
Hi. Welcome, everybody. My name is, y buenas noches a todos. My name is Evelyn Suarez. I am the proud president of Chelsea Reform Democratic Club. I would like to welcome all you new members that are here. And those who aren't member, I would like to welcome you. And also would like to ask you to join our lovely club. After this meeting tonight, I will be giving a little briefing to the general members. Anyone that likes to continue till 8 o'clock, you are welcome. It's just a little briefing of how the club is doing and what are we planning for the future. Now for this lovely program, I am going to leave it up to Lisette. She's going to give the presentation, and thank you everyone for joining. Lisette, there you go.
Thank you so much, Evelyn. And like our president of the, hello?
27th Street.
Can everybody please mute themselves? Okay, don't, if,
Roberta, it will help if you could mute them and that will assist everybody.
I will do that.
Okay, in any case.
But I'm going to, excuse me 1 second. I'm going to mute you too. So you're going to have to unmute yourself. Okay? Okay.
Okay. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Great. So like our president said, Evelyn Suarez, the president of the Chelsea Reform Democratic Club, we are delighted to have all of you with us. This evening, we're all gathering here to kick off our Chelsea Reform Democratic Club community talk. We are pleased to inform you that we have lined up a monthly series of community talks concerning issues that are impacting our Chelsea community. Issues such as the Madison Square Garden, to be or not to be there, pedestrian safety, homelessness, and community land trust. The issue that we will be discussing tonight, what is next for our New York City Retirees Healthcare, will allow us to get the latest update regarding the struggle to preserve healthcare benefits for New York City retirees. We will begin with a testimony of a UFT retiree, Betty McLean. She was a social worker for 23 years in the public school system, serving students in the Bronx and Manhattan. She will share with us how this monumentally bad decision by the mayor of New York has negatively impacted not only her life, but the lives of 250,000 New York City retirees, who in one way or another will be dealing with this disastrous failure of the so many elected officials and various so-called union leaders of good representation for us, the working people of New York City, their constituents, and their union members. In the words of a very dear colleague and one of my role models, the mighty Dr. Evelyn Jones Rich, and I quote, "This is a monumental threat to the quality, comprehensive health care we were promised when we signed on decades ago to work as employees for New York City, accepting significantly smaller salaries in return. Now, at the 11th hour, urged on by insufficient and, in our view, incorrect knowledge and a refusal to explore all options for addressing out of control rising medical costs with all the stakeholders participating, the Adams administration has sold its soul and possibly our lives for elusive federal dollars and questionable care for its retirees." And I close the quote. Betty's testimony today will be followed by the one and only Marian Pisitola, leader of the New York City Organization of Public Service Retirees for the Preservation of Healthcare Benefits. She's the president since August 2021. This organization was founded by a group of dedicated retirees to tell the city of New York and their former unions to keep their hands off our contractual benefits we earn when employed by the city of New York. This organization's mission is to advocate, protect, and defend our benefits contractually earned by retirees during our employment. In March 2022, the Manhattan Supreme Court agreed with our position that we were entitled to our benefits. And yet the fight continues. For the past 17 years, Marianne has also been the president of the Fire Department of New York Emergency Retirees Association, helping members of the FDNY EMS Command with benefits and retirement assistance and advocate for their benefits. For 9/11 World Trade Center Healthcare. Marianne will share with Betty and all of us what is happening with the New York City Retirees Healthcare and what are the next steps. And very important, what can we all do to fight back this battle, as this fight is certainly not over. We will have a Q&A right after Marianne's presentation, but I think it's worth mentioning that the Municipal Labor Council, the MLC, declined the CRDC Program Committee's invitation to speak tonight in support of the proposal. Instead, they recommended us to invite an Aetna representative as the alternate speaker. The Planning Committee decided to vote down that proposal, as Aetna is just a proposed vendor and not the policymaker that decided to advance this plan. We should all understand that this Aetna contract is not at this point official, in that the controller has yet to register it. We have indeed a lot of things to discuss and to be answered tonight. So without further ado, I would like to welcome our Stuyvesant neighbor, Betty McLean. Welcome, Betty.
Hi, everyone.
Betty, good. So Betty,
Yes.
could you kindly share with us in your own words, in what way you feel that this decision by the so-called leaders of our city, especially the mayor and the leaders of the top MLC unions, has had an impact in your life as a retiree? I know that you have been retired for 10 years now. So tell all of us, how do you feel about it? And in what way will it impact you?
Okay. Yeah, I've been retired for 10 years after working 23 years with the Department of Education. I'm 76 years old. I never expected I would be in this position. I never thought I would have to fight my union, fight City Hall, the City Council, to fight for benefits that I thought were promised to me for a lifetime when I was an employee. I feel angry and betrayed by my union, by the unions, and particularly my union, since they were, the UFT made this deal behind closed doors back in, I guess, 2014. This has put us in this position of having to be out on the street and rally and make phone calls and deal with an enormous anxiety, having to do with, we don't know. We don't really understand this plan. We don't know if this is, we know the things that are written in the contract. Once you read it, it's pretty scary that every 2 years this would be up for, certain parts of it would be up for renewal. The prior authorizations, the denials of care, the network providers, all of that is up for grabs as time goes on, because this is a private, Aetna obviously is a privatized Medicare Advantage plan. So I am going from traditional Medicare and my Medigap plan to this plan that I had no part in choosing, I was not at the table. None of the retirees were at the table. These were plans made between the mayor and the unions, and it's scary. And I am just one of, as you said, 250,000 people who are. I said I'm 76, but there are people in their 80s and 90s who are fragile, vulnerable, medically and physically, and they're having to think or have their providers taken away from them, and worry about which hospital can they go to? Can they go to this hospital? Can they go to that hospital? What's part of the plan? We don't know. There's so much uncertainty, and it seems so unfair, and I'm going to say abusive, really, to people who are the most vulnerable. I have a friend now who's going through, was diagnosed with pancreatic cancer. She's a retired teacher. She had tests at one hospital, and then she went to another hospital, and they want to do new tests for her. Do I know after September 1st, or does she even know after September 1st, if this prior authorization issue would be an issue for her, to prevent her from going to the doctors and hospitals that she feels would best deal with her problem? This is, we just never expected this. I think one of the surprising things for me also was that retirees, even though we're dues paying, and I was part of this retiree chapter of the UFT, are not represented in making this kind of decision. I never knew that, and apparently I was wrong in thinking that they would protect me. Okay, I want to say, that I also, this really gets me angry, that traditional Medicare is being basically taken away from me. I feel being taken away from me. I remember LBJ and the Medicare Act being very important for us. And now I'm being forced into a privatized plan where it's for profit, and it's really the company has to make good to their shareholders. And I find this actually ironic because the UFT, over the years, I was an active employee, fought tooth and nail against charter schools and charter programs, which were more of a privatized education plan. Now, here they are privatizing healthcare for the retirees. And it seems like the retirees just are easy pickings for the mayor and the unions. I can't believe that I'm having to fight this now alongside so many other thousands of people to get something that we were promised and earned during our employment with the city. And I have to say, I'm very angry also that we're dealing with, I can't believe that I'm living in a Democratic controlled city. I have a Democratic mayor, a majority Democratic city council. And they claim to be pro-labor and in support of working people. And That doesn't seem to be. I'm disillusioned and have lost faith. And you're a Democratic club, so I feel I can say this. If I was fighting Republicans, I would understand it. That would make sense to me because of maybe their push to privatize. But here I am in this position as with thousands of other people having to fight like hell to get actually to get heard even. We rallied at City Hall a few weeks ago, and it seems like the city council doesn't even want to hear us. It's very discouraging. So I do want to say that, but we see right through their plans and are fighting for our lives. They should not underestimate our determination and commitment to fight for what we earned and were promised. Yeah, and in the long run, I'm just worried as I get older that I'm not going to have the energy to do all of this fighting with my health insurance company with Aetna about denials and finding out who's in the network and going on the computer. And this is way beyond what should be asked of us. So that's really what I have to say. And I would really like to say many thanks to Marianne and the organization. They've worked tirelessly for us, and without them, we'd already be sunk. And thank you. Thank you for listening.
Thank you, Betty. And I join you in with that frustration and that sense of uncertainty. And I want that all of us throughout this talk today, we leave the meeting feeling that this is not over and we are all going to help each other. And who else better than Marianne to keep showing us the way to keep fighting this. I really thank you for your sincere testimony. And I share all the same feelings that you have. I just retired now in January, and I was hoping that I was just going to be like having a great time. And I'm having a great time in the rallies, but I'd rather spend it in other places. But in any way, thank you so much, Betty. And you see, it was good to be in our living room. So that's wonderful that you came. And I want to, this is the perfect moment to introduce Marianne Pisitola. Just like you said, Betty, we all have to thank her for the monumental work that you, and Marianne, I don't know if you're already back. Are you here with us? Good. Marianne, thanks for all the monumental work that you and your team at the New York City Organization for Public Service Retirees have been doing on behalf of all of us as New York City retirees. I want to take this moment to fully acknowledge all your incredible work against all odds. And we as retirees have come this far in terms of still fighting back, in trying to keep our earned healthcare benefits in great part thanks to your powerful organization, your team and your members. Many of them are here in this Zoom meeting because the people in Penn South have been very diligent in doing all your homework. So Marianne, welcome to this Chelsea Reform Democratic Club meeting.
Hey guys, it's great. Thank you so much, Lizette. It's wonderful to be here. And just note that while I may lead this because I probably got probably the most stubborn and got the biggest mouths, if you guys didn't follow along and help get our messaging out, this is really about your fight. I just kind of give some suggestions on what to do. But like the rally on Tuesday, I'm good at a lot of things. One thing, though, that you are way better than me is setting the rhythm and the beat to getting those chants going and getting the crowd going. So that's why we say it's a team effort, because while there are things I'm good at, there's people that are way better than me. And so I give you credit for that, because that was a very fun day and the turnout for that was tremendous. We are actually planning another one. Yeah, I know, but see, I need more time to recover between them. You talk about retirement, and we earned this time, and you're right, we shouldn't have to be fighting for ourselves at this point. And this has become extremely draining and very exhausting on all of us. My team especially, because we're the ones handling the phone calls, the emails, the text messages, the messenger, the Facebook, the all of the social media comments. I mean, we run all that on our own, and this is still volunteer for all of us. Like, this is not a paying job. And yet we still have to keep fundraising coming, because our legal bills are starting to ramp up with all the litigation, because we have several different cases going at the same time. And that's going to just ramp up even more. So that just makes it more stressful, because last time we had one case, now we have 3 cases. Well, should have 3. And so it just makes it much more stressful for us. But I also feel your pain about being in the Democratic Party, because we know that the Democratic Party is the party of Medicare. And this should have been a slam dunk. And if you went into this thinking, oh, this should be a piece of cake, 51 people in the city council, majority of them are Democrats, of course they're going to support this. The Democratic Party supports Medicare. They would never go for Medicare Advantage and privatization of a public health benefit. And then, what happened? I keep hitting the brick wall. What's going on? And this is exactly what we're running into. So we recognize that you feel that, because we feel that as well. This kind of took us by surprise. We know that right now we've been doing, you mentioned our homework assignments. We do homework assignments on a daily basis. And if we don't post up something new, we just say do yesterday's. And that campaign has been pressuring the comptroller, Brad Lander, and the mayor by calling 311 and expressing your displeasure with the mayor not doing what he was supposed to do in leading the way to protecting seniors like mayors or the city councils had done in the past. Also, that he is stripping away our choices of healthcare, privatizing Medicare, not allowing us to have a Medigap plan, not wanting to sit down at the table with us to have a conversation to understand why exactly this plan is not good for everyone. Medicare Advantage plans are okay for some people, but they're not okay for every people's. So we are trying to get that message across to him, and it doesn't really help that his office keeps putting out misinformation about the plan being cheaper or offering extra perks that are not in our current healthcare plans. And that is extremely frustrating, because here is a man of leadership, who's supposed to be a leader governing the city of New York, leading our city. And yet his office is one of the number one culprits for putting out misinformation. And finding ways to combat that are difficult. We know that we have to put a positive pressure campaign on city council, because we still have our proposed legislation sitting in the legislative office that has not been moved since December. And we're also familiar that the pressure from the mayor's office on the council is to not allow our proposed legislation to be introduced. So I'm hoping that that might change in the near future. But that requires us to keep pushing the council to try to do the right thing and protect retirees, since our unions no longer represent us under the Taylor law. So that pressure campaign that we're doing, that advocacy, is Brad Lander, the comptroller, the mayor, and then we'll probably be starting the council again. We're taking a little bit of break from that just because it's just so much for us to keep doing. But our messaging might be changing probably by next week with the council. But we're asking everyone, please contact 311 on a daily basis. And you'll get a very nice representative from 311 on the phone, and you'll tell them, listen, I got a message for Mayor Eric Adams, and they'll take your message. They'll give you a number, a reference number, but also know what you're doing. You're not just leaving the message for the mayor. You're educating whoever picks up that phone, who's an active employee, who this is their future. Also, letting them know that the MLC, the Municipal Labor Committee, is actively negotiating their health care benefits today. So we keep telling them what the city's doing to us today, is coming to you tomorrow, which is what will get them to listen. So you're actually doing two very good things, leaving a message for the mayor to tell them how you feel, and you're educating an active employee that answers that telephone. That's why we tell you call repeatedly, like call today, call tomorrow, call progress. Oop, that was like that. Is that Francine's microphone?
Yeah, sorry, I was outside. Thank you.
So, so to be able to know how to do that, yes, contact 311 on a daily basis. It's super important that you keep contacting the 311 number because that will get your message across. We put up a newsletter. Our newsletter is available for you can sign up for it on our website, nycretirees.org. Sign up for our newsletter. You can also donate to our campaign there. And then we're also working on legislation on the state level and also going to roll out a federal campaign because we are in this mess because of a federal rule change. And we're going to start hitting all of that at the same time. So register for our emails so that we can get that word out and you can join in our fight in trying to do that and reminding the Democratic Party what we're supposed to be standing for and who we're supposed to be protecting. So thank you.
Mariana, I would like to make sure that people have time to ask you questions. So I would really encourage the people in this call to take advantage of the presence of Mariana to make sure that you raise the questions that you might have. So the forum is open. And while they get warm up, Marianne, today I called 3 times Brad Lander's office, and they all went to a voicemail. There was nobody, and I called at different times. So I'm wondering, is it advisable to leave a voice message, or is it better? I just left my phone number to see if they will call me back. What do you advise people to do whenever that happens? Kindly tell
I
us.
think they moved the phone to the closet and walked away. So you leave a message, you can do whatever you want to do. I put them in my phone and I got them on speed dial and I just go, Brad Lander, clink, and just keep on calling. Because sometimes you might get a person, because someone actually did, one of our members did get a person and they said, they posted on our Facebook page and they said, I finally got through to a person and they told me, stop calling, we don't have the contract. And I'm like, what? How could he not have the contract? So at least you know you're making your mark.
I have another question. Do you see any person raising the hand yet, Roberta?
Right here.
Okay,
It's
Tito,
Tito.
you go for it.
So, first of all, I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart, Marianne, for leading this fight. I was at the last demonstration and I couldn't believe the amount of great head people that were there. I was really proud. So my question is, I know that you're fighting this on many fronts, legislatively, legally, lawsuits, etc. But when's it time to take some direct action? Because they're not listening. The media doesn't show up. And there's an old, let me finish, please. There's an old saying in the media that says, if it leads, it bleeds. So why don't we blockade Broadway right next to City Hall? I bet you we get the media then. Let me know when it's time to do direct action because our lives depend on it. My wife has cancer. I'm blind. I don't know what we're going to do. Thank you.
Well,
Thank you,
Tito,
Tito.
thank you so much. So we actually had an idea that we were gonna walk across the Brooklyn Bridge. But knowing that we were told 2 things. One, that if we did that, we might turn public opinion against us because we inconvenienced them. And then the second was we had to worry about our seniors as, look, we had 2 people that passed out when we were just standing at City Hall. So I'm going to probably do a phone call with you and Lizette one day next week and toss around some ideas with you, and maybe you could teach me a few things or give me some suggestions, and I'd be open to that. So, but we actually had a few things we're thinking about that you might be happy with, but I'll discuss them with you next week.
Thank you.
Great.
You're
And
welcome.
I'm so glad that Tito said that he's a great activist, Mariana. So
Yeah.
thank you, Tito. And he has been saying that for a while. So
Let's
I'm
make some
glad that
trouble, Tito.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Do we
so
have any?
I have a question. I raised my hand, so I'm gonna ask a question and then I'll
Go for
call
it,
on the other
Roberta.
people. Mariana, so we represent the Chelsea Reform Democratic Club. Eric Baccia is our city council person. And we have other people who represent us. What do you think the most effective thing we can do is? Because we have an issue, and that issue is several of these city council people are running for re-election. They are being supported heavily by the unions. And so what approach do you think we should take as a Democratic club to address those electeds?
Well, I'm going to tell you, we were just having a meeting about this today. We were asked by our advisors to come up with 10 to 15 people in every council person's district. So Lizette will help me with that, if you're all in Eric Botcher's district, that would be great. Because then what we want to start doing is grabbing a bunch of people, having a Zoom call or going to his office and basically saying, like, hopefully we can get our bill introduced, right? And if we can get that done, then we're going to need to pressure them and say, where do you stand on this? Will you co-sponsor it? Yes or no? And if he says no, well, look, and that's for any council person, not just Mr. Botcher, but remember something, you're right. The union, the council persons are afraid that they will not have the support from the unions. And what support does the unions give them? Money, people, and phone power. So I'm assuming that if the Democratic club said to any elected official, look, our club is willing to support you for your reelection. If you're needing assistance, we will help you with canvassing and petitioning and flyers and coming to your events. But you know how loud the retirees have been, and clearly we've shown them that our advocacy at many times has been a lot louder than the active unions. You have the power, but for some reason they're still fearful of the unions. They should be fearful of you. You vote, you come out, you have time. They can either have you prepare an advocacy campaign where you're jamming up their email box and their calls and you're picketing outside their offices, or they can have you on their side. Where do they want to be? That they're supporting senior citizens in their neighborhoods, or they're okay with allowing them to have an inferior healthcare plan and ignoring them? And that's a powerful message for them to hear, because they should be fearful of you and not the active unions. A lot of the unions, some of their workers are in their districts, but some of their employees, the union members, are outside of the districts or outside of the city. You are telling them point blank, I'm in your district, I'm in your backyard. You need to look at me, remember me, because one day you will be me. And if you're okay with selling out my healthcare and putting in an inferior healthcare plan, I'm going to make sure everyone in this district knows that. And that's important for you to be able them to hear that message from you.
Great, thank you. People, please look in the chat, because Lizette is posting things in the chat. So one of the things she posted is, if you're interested in visiting city council members, let us know. We'll help you organize that. If it's some, and some of our people may want to go with you. Fran, you had your hand up. So if you want to unmute.
Okay, thank you, Roberta. I have a question. You said that we won something in the Supreme Court of New York. So what is happening with that? Where is that going? I don't know a thing about it.
So our initial lawsuit was won in Supreme Court. The city appealed, and we won that with a unanimous decision as well. Then the city appealed it a second time to the High Court, and we're waiting to see if that will be heard
Sorry, Marianne, we had some background noise, so I muted everybody again. So if you could unmute yourself, I'd appreciate it.
Okay, Marianne, so what did the Supreme Court said what? Or what was the suit about? We had to be represented. We don't want, what did it say? What was the essence of the suit?
The original case was that they could not force you into a supplemental plan that you've had since 1967 and force a premium on you that plan has been premium free, because it lies underneath the benchmark that the city has to pay up to. So the judge told the city, one, you can't charge those retirees a premium because the cost of that Medigap plan, the senior care, falls under the obligation of the city. The city is obligated to pay for it. And also that they could not charge retirees two deductibles, a deductible for the old plan and a deductible for the new plan. So that's what he said. And because there's that benchmark of the administrative code that they were required to live up to, is why they then went to all those other crazy things that they did after. They tried to go around the court's decision by trying to scare the council to change the administrative code. That's what brought us to this nuclear option where they eliminated all of their healthcare plans. Because remember, the city and the MLC negotiated to save $600 million. They didn't need to do this on the backs of retirees. The only reason that they did it, and you can go back to the letter on OLR's website from Renee Campion and Claire Levitt to Mayor de Blasio, was because they misused the stabilization fund, although they don't want to say that out loud. But they wanted to use what the city would have paid for you to finance a fund that pays their premium. And so in that letter, it says, I think it's like on page 2 or 3, it says that they didn't need to do Medicare Advantage to meet the savings benchmarks that the MLC negotiated, but they did it to put money into the stabilization fund. That stabilization fund pays for premium for under 65 retirees and active workers. That does not pay for people like you and I that are on Medicare. That is a separate line item out of the budget. So they strictly used your value of your healthcare plan to finance a fund to keep their premium-free healthcare. Right now, the other case that we have is a class action copay case, because they violated the judge's opinion in our decision, and our opinion on that, and that also violated the contract. So that is still working its way through the court. That's in Supreme Court and the First Department, because the city also appealed the injunction that we were given. That's why your copays stopped. So we are fighting those two cases. The next case that we're filing soon, it's coming up in a few weeks, is the case that fights this, that they took away all of your choices of healthcare, prevent you from getting back to a Medigap, and pushing you into Medicare Advantage, Aetna. And that's the case that's coming up soon.
Thank you, Marianne.
Thank you. The next one will be Carla Fine, followed by Howie.
Okay, I just want to welcome Marianne to Chelsea. She is the rock star of this whole movement. And I know her voice very familiar because I listen to her videos all the time, and then I make my husband come over and listen. So every morning I want to hear what you say, and I really, 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 really respect all that you're doing. I come from a very strong union family. I was a union member. I worked at Bellevue Hospital. One of the things I want to really emphasize, Marianne, Michelle, they were EMS workers. They saved lives literally during their careers, and they are continuing to save lives now. And I am a writer. I've written 10 books, and a lot of my books have to do with mental health and suicide. And I know that now Marianne and her group and others are trying to help with the anguish that seniors are going through for this plan. I have reached out to so many electeds, including the mayor, including our city councilmen, who believe so much in mental health. And I bring up that this is ruining the mental health. People are going through anguish, as Betty explained, and she's just not one, she's not the only one. And I do not understand why they can have all these great plans about mental health for everybody except for mental health for seniors. And the people that I've been hearing from, and I have a whole, believe me, a different kind of contact list than Marianne is, they're desperate. They're desperate. And I feel that if they do not fix this, they will have blood on their hands. It won't just be, lying in front of City Hall. They will have not just physical blood, they will have the mental blood and the emotional of people. And I just want to thank you again. And I urge this club, my husband's a member, to ask everyone who is up for election, what is your position on this? Before we give you our endorsement, what is your position? Yes or no? Not kind of what I'm getting, well, we don't know where, if it's in this committee, we don't know if it's in that committee, all this stuff that just, that you're hearing misinformation or whatever they're telling you. I think you should go yes or no. Are you supporting this? Are you not supporting it? It's very easy. I invited some of the electeds to this meeting, and I don't see them unless they're on another that I don't know. And it's so disappointing to me. So I just want to thank you, Marianne, for helping us and saving our lives right now, and also our mental lives are at this point. And thank you for having this meeting here too. I really appreciate it as a long-term Chelsea resident. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Carla, for bringing those points up. I think that the question, which side are you on, has to be pounded on every single council member. And we hate the kind of answers that they're giving us of this, we don't have enough information.
That's
So
right.
yes, it's
Right.
terrible.
That's what they want. We don't have enough information. Come on, we're New Yorkers. We know, when they say that to you, it's either yes or no, and to me, what I was writing lots of letters to is that whole guinea pig thing. And when I was writing to them, I said, you care about guinea pig? It was, I don't know, Marianne, did you bring that up? I mean, did you make that happen? Because the timing couldn't have been better. Here you are. And it's like somebody, if you saw it in a movie, you'd say, no, that's a little bit too, coincidental, but it was great. They voted for the rights of guinea pigs, and there were all the seniors there, and it was just amazing to me. It was just amazing to me.
So what I want you to do is the next time a council person pushes back and says they don't have enough information, you say, well, I'll clear my schedule for you, and so will Marianne. And so will our council. Why don't you tell me what day you've got this week, next week, today, tomorrow? When are you free, council person? And if you get an appointment, you call me, I'll clear my schedule and be there in a heartbeat. You schedule it up on Zoom or whatever. We could all be there from our living rooms, and we could all be there. They have no excuse not to meet with you. You need information, or the speaker's very famous for saying that as well. Well, we're still looking for information, and we're still fact finding. We're exploring our options. What options is there? And if you don't know your options already and it's 2 years later, then clearly you're a slow learner. Let's get you together with the few people that can help you expedite this so that we don't have to stress out. And your point about stress and senior stress, and that is extremely serious to us. If you have a moment, can email us at the organization, email Michelle or private message her. Let us know what you are seeing in your capacity. And it's very important because we would like to get that messaging. If you're familiar with a group of seniors or several people that you're seeing that there is a severe anxiety, emotional stress, depression, whatever, because of this, we need to know that, and would probably need an affidavit from you to show the court exactly what this is causing people.
Absolutely.
That would be
Thank
great.
you.
I think that you could have a lot of affidavits, Mariana, because we witnessed that at the last rally, and we even saw the 2 people who fainted. People who are old and they have to be there fighting, even though they're sick, and they would rather be at home resting. So yes, and people
So you may want to do it. I'm sorry to interrupt you because of the privacy law. I can't really say anybody's name, but you may, in your homework kind of thing, you may want to ask people that question as well. When you ask, that might be a question too, that people might, but I certainly will. But I'm just saying that people may want to talk about the mental stress that they're going through.
Yes, and you can do that for us without names. I don't need names,
Okay.
none. But you can just tell me in general what you are seeing.
Absolutely.
And express that you cannot give names because of that capacity, but that would be powerful.
Thank you.
Great.
I will.
And Mariana, before I call the next person, could you kindly clarify for us what is the issue about the legislation that you have put forward with Farias? They keep saying, just like Carla was mentioning now, that they have no idea. I mean, council members are saying they have no idea what is this legislation all about, and that they cannot co-sponsor it because it has to get the number first. Can you please clarify for us what should be our argument whenever they come across, I mean, whenever they come back to us saying that kind of thing? What is the order of this kind of legislation moving forward, and what can we do to support it?
So typically, a bill gets introduced by a council, what gets proposed by a council person, and it has to go through, well, in normal ways, it goes through the legislative office. They review it, they might tweak it, they give it an intro number, a bill number, an intro number, and then it gets introduced by the council. And that's probably the simplest way. And I think if Sue's on here, she could probably go into more details because she's really smarter on that than I am. But basically, that's how it works. And so you get an intro number, it gets introduced by the council, it goes into a committee, the committee votes on it. It probably has to be voted on like or talked about once or twice, and then they take a full vote on it and boom, it's done. And that could take some time. Which is probably why when Sue and I were talking about the guinea pig bill, I think the guinea pig bill took about almost 2 years, I think, or a year to get passed, right? And I'm sure that it wasn't a total priority, or it probably would have been done sooner, but it has a process, right? So things like this are not an event is my point. However, our bill has been sitting in the legislative office since December, before the January hearing. And the speaker gave an interview to a labor press newspaper where she said that she will not allow our bill to be introduced. So it is just sitting there. We are hoping that we will be able to get that introduced soon, and we're working on a strategy, and I'm hoping that that comes to fruition soon. But the bill is literally 2 sentences, and it says that the city is required to provide a Medigap plan to retirees. And because they never changed the code and they didn't change the benchmark, it would still be premium free to everyone because they didn't change the code. It is still required to be paid up to the HIP HMO cap, right? And then 2, the second sentence says that nothing in this bill would preclude the unions from collectively bargaining. It doesn't impact that. So therefore they can't say, no, you can't do that because that would prevent my ability to bargain. No, we took that away and we said, this just affects us. This doesn't affect you. You don't negotiate for us. Go have a nice day. So even with those 2 simple sentences, which was on the pledge, the council is still telling all of you, I haven't seen the bill. And we go, well, did you look at the pledge? Because the bill text is in the pledge. Okay. And yet they still say, well, it doesn't have an intro number. We don't have to look at it. And then my arguing point back to them is, well, you don't have a bill on guns. You don't have a bill on abortion. You don't have a bill on crime. You don't have a bill on tolls or traffic congestion, but you still make an opinion on them. You can still take an opinion on this. Where do you fall on this? Do you support retirees having choice and not privatizing their Medicare? Yes or no? And that should be a simple answer because we are Democrats and this is the party of Medicare, right? But that should be your talking points, and don't let them see they're trying to say to you, give you every excuse not to answer you. Keep pushing back. When I was a kid, my mom, I used to drive her crazy. She used to say to me, when you were a kid, you weren't normal. You always used to say, why? And I would say, well, because I'm the mother. And I'd say, well, why? And she said, well, because I said so. And I said, well, why? Or why or because? And she'd say, because. And I'd say, because why? And so you could do the same thing. Just because you're a senior doesn't mean that you can't push back. You're smarter than them. Make them answer you.
Marianne, I cannot believe that you were a difficult child.
It's very difficult. Yes. But see,
Of course.
it is this situation that I was trained and groomed for this. I was a professional pain in the ass.
Okay, so Howie, you're next.
Hey, thanks, Lizette. Marianne, thanks so much for being here. Thanks so much for all you do. It's a David and Goliath story, and someday they'll be writing about you and your organization in college public administration textbooks, I assure you. It's an incredible story. If I could ask a question, and forgive me if it's somewhat simple and perhaps even naive, but it's something I've been asking for 2 years and I can't seem to get an answer. And it's something I just don't understand. We've all paid Medicare taxes throughout our working lives for a federal program. I don't understand how someone who is not a federal official, we have a contract with the federal government to provide us a certain program, a Part A, Part B Medicare program. How is a non-federal official like the mayor of the city of New York able to manipulate that program and alter the program?
You got a pen? No, really, you got a pen and a piece of
Yes,
paper?
I do. Yes, indeed.
Take down, I want you to take down these words. And when this is over, I want you to go Google search them.
Okay.
I want you to Google search MedicareAdvocacy.org. MedicareAdvocacy.org. I want you to then put next to the words issue, 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 brief, 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 October 2021.
Okay.
So when you you Google search those words, you should pull up MedicareAdvocacy.org, which is a Medicare advocacy organization of attorneys that look to protect Medicare in the state of Connecticut. They're in Connecticut, but they're nationwide. Okay. They're based in DC and Connecticut. They actually wrote about us in October of 21, and they wrote this issue brief, which is a legal discussion about why this is happening and how Medicare Advantage is eroding the choices to seniors for Medicare. And the reason you're going to find is on page 3, footnote 18. And I know this by heart. Yes. So you're going to read that whole brief, but then you're going to zone in on page 3, footnote 18. And it's going to say to you that the reason that this can happen is because in 2000, the president changed a statute that gave very broad powers to the secretary that will allow them for a seamless transition of retirees into Medicare Advantage plans. And because that statute was changed with no public open comment period whatsoever, it was just put into place and implemented. And that was the start of auto enrollment of Medicare eligible retirees into Medicare Advantage for profit privatized plans.
Wow.
And that's why when I said before that we are not just fighting this on the city level, we're also fighting this on the state level, and the federal level is coming soon. You already saw AOC put out a statement the other day. Start to watch, because we are trying to get other Congress and congressional people, representatives, senators to do the same thing, is to come out against this. Given that there is a split Congress, it will probably be difficult or impossible to get this rule change rolled back. That doesn't mean we give up and stop. We start that campaign, pressure the people on the federal level, because that's where that rule is. Because that is a federal problem, that means like your Jerry Nadlers, your Kirsten Gillibrands, all of those people, that's where you have to start writing letters to. We're rolling out very soon. I have a meeting tomorrow, as a matter of fact, at 11, just to roll out an action network campaign for the congressional leaders to say this must be stopped. So we're going to draft that. But at the same time, I need to wait about a week or two, I think, more to push that out, because I'm still working something on the state level. I need to do this in a very calculated way without tipping too many hands before it actually happens, and then go ahead and then roll out that. Once that happens, I'll make sure I pull in Lizette, send that link to you guys, because then with a single click of a mouse, you can send all of Congress, both sides, both houses, with a single click, both houses, the same email, and the president at the same time, and say, this needs to stop.
You know, if I could just say, I did write to the president. I wrote to Gillibrand and Schumer and to Nadler. I did
Yeah.
get a letter back from the White House, not addressing my issue, just talking about insurance in general, but nothing from Schumer, nothing from Gillibrand, and nothing from Nadler. Not even a thank you, but a no thank you. Nothing. So everyone should know that.
Yeah, we're going to end up having to take it down to their doorstep. I think we, at one point we had picketed in front of some of the congressional people's offices and when we were fighting under the Zadroga Act for the World Trade Center. So I have a fear that this may end up having to come to that too. But look, we're retired. We got a little time on our hands. There's no reason why we can't pick up a cup of coffee and spend 2 hours outside Jerry Nadler's office and say, come down and speak to us.
Yes.
I have to say
Amen.
that we have a brunch on coming up on, is it May 6th? I think, was
Yes.
that correct?
Yes, May
Saturday,
6th,
May
yes.
6th. And everyone is welcome to come to our brunch, and Jerry Nadler will be there, and Chuck Schumer usually comes. And I think program committee and membership, we should talk about some action at that
Yes.
brunch
I
when
would
they're
love that.
there. I think that's a great idea. But just speaking of which, I'm sorry to interrupt, but Brad Hoylman is here. So Mariana, if you have any questions about on the state level, perhaps Brad can answer them while he's here. Brad, can you unmute yourself, or did you just leave?
Yes.
Okay.
No, I'm here.
Good. Mariana, you guys know each other?
Hi.
Hi.
Or-
What can we do at the state level to help?
So we're trying to get a bill introduced on the state level. My government liaison is Gotham, Denny Salas, and I can put him in touch with you. We're looking to, he's been speaking with different people representatives to try to get that state bill, because I'm not convinced that the city, this will probably need to be done on a state level. And why? Is because this is happening nationwide and around the state of New York, that their municipalities are dumping retirees out of traditional Medicare and forcing them into Medicare Advantage plans. And I didn't want to just be greedy and say, let me just do this to save New York City public employees, because now in the course of this, because we polarized this fight, I've got retirees, not just from all different municipalities in the state of New York, but in other municipalities, Delaware, Maine, Vermont, Illinois, Louisiana, Ohio, California, and Washington, calling me saying, what did you do? Because they're doing the same thing to us. So this is a full privatization of Medicare, and it's happening at a nationwide level. I got called yesterday from the motion picture industry retirees, California. This senior from the motion picture industry said to me, my union did this to me. I said, mine too. And she doesn't know how to stop it. And she didn't understand where it comes from. And it comes from the federal level. So after explaining to her how that happened, I told her I'm trying to roll out a national campaign, but I have to attack this on every level, city, state, and federal, because I don't know which one's going to work. And if I don't target all three, then I don't feel like I'm doing my job. So I'm going to scream from every single mountain and try to get someone to fix this, because this is a pure privatization of Medicare, but it's happening from within the inside. And I don't think people actually realize that because of that rule change, like I just mentioned, that is a federal statute. It allows for what they call seamless transition of retirees into Medicare Advantage. Why would we do that?
Yeah.
If the president says to us at the state of the country that we are the party of Medicare and that we should be able to agree with the Republicans on our side that Medicare should still be here in 5, 10, 15, 25 years, and that we're not looking to get rid of it or damage it, then why are we paying Medicare Advantage insurers, which are private for profit, more money than the government currently pays to administer our Medicare? To privatize Medicare, we're paying them more money. Oh, and by the way, most of these insurers are under investigation by the Department of Justice and the Office of the Inspector General for Medicare fraud.
Right.
What does that tell you?
Yeah, I'm going to put my email and cell, and you can give it to Denny. I mean, I see him up in Albany a lot, but I'd love to be helpful. Senator Jackson is the chair of the Civil Service Committee. So he's probably going to be the right person to speak to too, but I'm going to please reach out and let me see what I can do.
I will.
Great. Thank you, Senator Holyman. Karen, you're next.
Hi, everybody. I too want to just thank Marianne and Sue Dodell and all the people in the New York City Organization of Public Service Retirees. And I did get my premium Part B check, and I will be sending you half, and I do donate every month, and you guys are extraordinary, really. Okay, actually, the question I wanted to ask was when you had said in the beginning that this mess is because of a change in federal law, but you've already addressed that. Although I wondered if the rule that you just quoted has a number or anything that is easily grabbable. So I'm going to look at what you already directed to us, page 3, footnote 18, and hope that it's embedded in that.
It is. Footnote 18 will actually say it, and if I'm going to do it wrong because I don't remember the full number, but it was like 42 USCA 1395W. When you see that in footnote 18, you'll know exactly what it is, because that's the code.
Yes. Well, it's very. I'm so happy that this discussion has gone beyond the confines of our battle, because it's obvious. I mean, all you see are television ads, and I scream at them, and I get mails encouraging me to become parts of a Medicare Advantage plan, and phone calls. I'm sure we're all subject to that, and it's just infuriating and so upset, because after all, traditional Medicare should be the sort of the I don't know, the words are escaping me at the moment.
The golden standard. President Lyndon Johnson gave us Medicare in 1966, and Mayor Lindsay gave it to us in 1967. So we have to honor why they gave that to us. It was so that we would all have equal access to health care, no matter how much we made, no matter the color of our skin, no matter what. And that's been the standard, and we should protect that.
Absolutely. I just want to also share that I did call your office, Mr. Lander, and I did get a person, and and I gave my name and then and my contact, my phone number, and I waited for him to ask whether I was for or against, just to have it be an equal playing field. And I said, "Oh, well, I'm against it." And he said, "Well, I assumed you are." So they must be getting a lot of phone calls from us and not from the other side, and that's all very hard.
Yeah. Well, thank you for doing that. Advocate for yourself, because if we don't advocate for us, nobody will.
Amen. Thank you, Karen.
Sure.
Good to see you here. The next one will be Ann Seeley, and then it will be Phyllis. Ann? Ann, are you yes. And
I was just curious, is this following the same game plan that they moved all the Medicaid patients into HMOs?
Well, the Medicare Advantage plan that the city wants to put us in, they call it a PPO, but it operates like an HMO. It has a network and prior authorization. So I'm going to say no, but yes.
Hello, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yes.
Hi. I'm sorry, Marianne, can you just repeat the last thing? Because I was having trouble finding the unmute button. What that last question and answer, because it may relate to part of what my question was.
Remind me which one I was answering.
The PPO and the
PPO.
So the Aetna Medicare Advantage plan is a PPO plan, and that basically means that they have a preferred provider organization, that they do have a network, but it kind of operates like an HMO in that you have a network, you have prior authorization. Even if there isn't prior authorization, they have what they call pre-visit confirmation, which is basically just another word for prior authorization. And that there are benefits in network and out of network. So they call it a PPO, but it kind of works like an HMO. You do have an easier time of it, and so does your provider if they are in network than out of network. So that you do need to know.
Okay. So I have a few questions. This is really interesting. I really appreciate this, this meeting and all of the work that everyone's been doing. I am just like right on the cusp of retirement. I've been trying to follow this issue, and I have a number of friends who have retired and have been active in following this. I trying to figure out how to frame the question because it's all quite confusing. But one thing is, I'm wondering, the union apparently supported this, and you've talked about, I guess this is, you're right, to you, Marianne. And I'm officially still a member of the union for like a couple more weeks or something, then I won't be. And I did try to sort of raise this to people in my agency before I left, and I know people barely knew anything about what was happening. Most people just were totally not tuned in at all. So I guess one question is, what I've been hearing is the union, I forget his name, supported this, like signed on to it. Years ago, they said, okay, we agree to this. This is where you're going to get the $500 million or whatever that was missing. You're going to get it from taking it, I guess, from the retiree or from health plan or something. So one thing I'm wondering is I guess somehow someone still has to come up with this 500 or 600 or something $million to fill a gap. I think I'll tell you like my list of questions, if that's okay, and because they kind of all relate to each other, they're kind of a step. Is it too late to say, as I don't know exactly what your legislation is that you're proposing or whatever, but I'm wondering, is it too late to say, look, you can't do this, you can't take this money from all retirees' health plans, you have to come up with some other way to deal with this? And then also related to that is there a way that we can actually get the union that's representing current employees to actually say, all right, sorry, we made a mistake. We agreed to this, and we did agree, and we agree that we're gonna find some way to come up with this $500 million that we have to find, but we've gotten too much pressure. Apparently, I don't know if retirees can make any pressure on the union, but if we can, and that is my next question is about getting current employees to rally up. But if they do get enough pressure, then is there a way to get them to say, okay, sorry, we kind of misjudged, we kind of made a mistake, we agreed to something we shouldn't have, but now we're gonna, go back to the drawing board, we're gonna try to figure some way to do this that doesn't land the whole problem on retirees. So that's sort of part of the question. And then is, can we get to is there any voices in the union that you're communicating with that is receptive to hearing this? Because I remember like a year ago or something, the head of my local in my union said, they're telling us this Medicare Advantage thing is supposed to be good, but I don't understand how that's possible, because apparently the whole purpose of it is to save the city $500 million. So how they're going to take something that's a public program, make it a private program, say that it's gonna save $500 million, but it's going to be a good deal for the people in that program. He said, I don't know how that's possible, but that's what they're saying it's supposed to happen.
Okay, so hold on a second, because you're going on and my brain's starting to fry. I don't remember even, I think, the first question. So first, what union are you in?
DC 37.
Oh, how wonderful. That was my former union. So let me explain. The unions in the city, there are many of them. There are way more than the 102 unions that are in the Municipal Labor Committee. But there are 102 unions in the MLC that are dues paying members of the MLC. Somehow, and I still can't figure out why it's been allowed to happen, is the MLC negotiates on a citywide basis for healthcare. That means all of the leaders, every president of the unions, of these unions, 102 unions, goes to the MLC. They have a technical committee and a steering committee and a tripartite committee. And most of this is done secret. They don't publish their meetings. They don't share their minutes. They don't tell you why things happened, how things happened, and they rush their votes, and they don't give the leaders time to bring things back to you, the membership, which I have a problem with. Healthcare is a mandatory subject of bargaining. That means if you're union president, whatever local you're from, and there's 52 different locals within the district council 37 that are in the MLC, when those leaders go to an MLC meeting and they're discussing citywide healthcare, those leaders, in my opinion, are obligated to come back to their locals, share with their members the issues that are being discussed, and ask their members what they want. If the members say, no, we don't understand this, then maybe the members should have then pressured the leadership of their local to get a better explanation of what was the difference between Medicare and Medicare Advantage. Because if you just went along with it, like, do you go walk into a car dealer and you buy a car without ever seeing the car, test driving the car, looking at the contract for the car? No. Do you do that for a house? No. Did you ever buy an insurance policy without going through all the details of the contract? No. But these leaderships of these unions in the MLC voted on Medicare Advantage without ever seeing the contract. And they did it more than once. And they all went based on what they were told. This plan is equal to or better than. It gives them perks. It's better. It saves everybody money. Oh, and by the way, we need the $600 million that the city would have spent on those retirees to finance our stabilization fund. You know, that fund that we misused. So unfortunately, the leaders of the locals think that they don't have to bring that information back to you. It has been all of our jobs to advocate, to educate the active workers that they should be asking their union leadership, their executive boards, why are you not discussing with us what's happening to the retirees? Because it's affecting them today, but this is our future healthcare. Why are you not telling me that my future health benefits are diminished? These people are complaining. They wouldn't be complaining and coming out of retirement and picketing on a street for no darn reason. There's a problem. What's going on? And then they'll tell you we're crazy, we're misinforming, but they're not going to be able to dispute the facts that we put out. That is your benefit. You, under the law, the Administrative Code, New York City Collective Bargaining Law, the Taylor Law, you are allowed to bargain for healthcare. That is your right. That is a mandatory subject of your bargaining. And yet your leadership is not allowing that to happen. And you should be asking why. So the leaders go and they vote these things, and they literally had a presentation by Aetna on March 2nd. And on March 9th, they took a vote of the MLC to force this upon retirees. Now, when they put in the paper that it was overwhelmingly supported by the MLC, that's not that true either. We put up a poster when we listened to the call about all of the unions that did vote. Because the MLC has a weighted voting structure, they get one vote for every 250 members in the union. Basically DC 37 and the UFT, United Federation of Teachers, can pretty much pass a 2/3 vote motion all on their own, even if the other 100 unions behind them disagree. But they were lied to and gaslit, because we have a recording of that meeting, as well as like the 4 meetings before it, going back into last year. So we can tell you that they were lied to when they said that the plan was better, or the plan has perks, or the plan is better than the senior care. It's not. And it's like talking to kids. You have kids, I don't have kids, but I know kids don't listen to you. And they're definitely not going to admit when they did something wrong. And I've dated enough men in my life. Sorry if there's a few good ones in here, but the ones I have will never admit they made a mistake. So knowing that, we were willing to give them a pass and say, look, you don't have to admit you made a mistake, but let's listen and talk about why this is bad. While they voted no, like the Uniform Coalition voted no, that's the police and fire unions, they haven't done anything to actively fight it, because they know if they do, then they are going to have to pay premium, or money's going to have to come out of somewhere else to finance their premium. They are using our healthcare. And if you don't believe me, go up to our YouTube channel. We have a video from Michael Mulgrew from last September that specifically says, we took it out of his union meeting and I narrowed it down to 55 seconds just so that I would get everybody's attention. And he basically says in that 55 seconds, the city said to us, if you give us back that 20% plan, we'll give you that money we would have spent on those retirees and give it to you to put in your welfare funds. On Instagram and Twitter, I posted Henry Garrido saying that and Harry Nispoli saying it. And I just have audio from them too. Michael, I had video. But that's a pure quid pro quo. Give us back their health care. We'll give that cash to you. And mind you, this is a stabilization fund they've misused. Both the city and the MLC have misused this money. They used it in 2014, $1 billion to finance the collective bargaining under the teacher's contract. And this fund that's not the first time this fund has had problems. It had problems in 03, 05, 09, 14, and now. And so we're going to keep selling off things. If we allow them to do this today, they are then going to come back. I mean, we were not even in a fiscal crisis, and not even in the fiscal crisis of the 70s did they take stuff away from the retirees. If you allow them to do this now, they will come back for our Medicare B reimbursement, our spousal coverage, our family coverage. When does it end? When there's nothing left? And when you give it away, you will never get it back. All right, what else you got?
Well, one thing is I was wondering if, and I'm happy to communicate with you separately or something if that helps, but one thing is I'm wondering kind of what's the, like, if there's a best succinct information sheet or something, or video or something. I know watched some of your videos, which are very helpful and educational, but to share with current employees, because right now it seems like it's just really hard to get their attention at all. And when you tell them anything, they're like, I don't really know what you're talking about. And, they're busy. They don't have a lot of time to dig into it.
So do this. You tell us what exactly you think that they would be warmed up to, that they would listen to. And I would do a video specifically just for that and put it up, and I could either make it public or share you the link to share with your group. But make no mistake, we tried to educate DC 37 active workers that when they put out the summary sheet to ratify your contract, they left number 5 vague. And number 5 said your healthcare remains premium free based on the MLC agreement. They never told you which one, and they still haven't. And I will probably bet 1 month's pension payment that your healthcare remains premium free because they all rolled the 2018 MLC agreement into their agreements that allows for retirees to be auto-enrolled into the senior care plan, into the Medicare Advantage plan, and off their senior care by privatizing our healthcare and stripping us away from our choices. So the city no longer has to pay for our healthcare as they're supposed to do under the law. They gave them the money. So your unions didn't listen to us. And we've been saying this since your contract was approved by Henry and Renee.
Yeah, we, oh, sorry, so many things. Is the money that there still like 500 million or something that's like floating, that like, is there anywhere else that it can be made up from?
Yes, we came up with $1.2 billion in savings in a variety of different ways that they can come up with the $600 million a year that they committed themselves in perpetuity in the 2018 MLC agreement.
Oh, a saving at that, that answers part of my question. You're saying they committed to saving 600 million per year.
Yes, without ever describing how and what would happen if it didn't happen.
Yeah.
If it didn't come to fruition. They only accounted for what would happen if they saved too much money. They never accounted for what would happen if it didn't come to fruition. They never had what they call a blow-up clause that would say what they would do if the savings benchmark wasn't realized, if they didn't come up with the $600 million. But remember, in Renee Campion's letter in like the third quarter of 2016, which is, I think it's 2016, which is still up on the no, it was 2021, I think, up on the OLR website. Go on the OLR website under health savings. There's all of the quarterly update letters. And I want to say it was like third quarter of 21. She wrote a letter to the mayor saying that they did not need Medicare Advantage to meet the savings $600 million benchmark, but that they were using it to finance the stabilization fund. It's in black and white, but because in the 2018 MLC agreement, which if you don't have, you can go to our website, nycretirees.org, Google search, and there's a search bar at top, type in 2018, click the first link, it'll come up, the 2018 MLC agreement. It tells you that the unions all agreed to $600 million in recurring healthcare savings without ever itemizing, delineating, specifying how it would happen. So they committed themselves to it. And how did they try to do it? Was on the backs of retirees.
So I'm sorry, is it okay, my last part of this question? Is,
Yeah.
because one of the things I have to say, this is a little tricky. I know that there are pros and cons to this. Some people will be horrified by the thought, but I would say there are some of us who are thinking, whoa, 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 wait a second. If there's a choice between, whatever, poor healthcare, and I guess I'm still, I don't know, sort of vaguely hopeful that maybe this isn't as terrible as everyone's saying, but who
It
knows?
is.
Yes. But anyway, if the choice is between healthcare that seems inferior versus everybody, maybe retirees, current employees, everyone saying, all right, my sense is the city is quite financially strapped. I think that if that's the case, I don't know, sometimes everyone has to take a little bit of a haircut or something. I don't know, anyway, the question of, is there any possibility that the option of saying, all right, some people may be, willing to take this plan as it is, but some people, they just care,
No, and I'm going to stop you right there. I'm not even going to let you finish that question. I'm going to tell you
Thank you.
why. I'm going to tell you why I'm not going to let you finish that question. Why is this plan not a good plan for everyone? It's good for some people and it's good for you when you're healthy. The problem is we have people right now that are in CCRCs, continuing care residential communities. These are mostly single seniors that do not accept, that live in these plans in these communities, and they go in as independent or assisted living, can transition to memory care or nursing care. And basically they go into these communities, they don't have spouses, they don't have children, or they don't want to burden their children with their end of life care. These communities have a medical director and they do not accept HMOs or Medicare Advantage plans. So I have seniors living in these communities right now who do not have health insurance if they are forced into this plan. They will not be covered. And they will be forced with one of two choices. One, bearing the full cost of health insurance because they would have to waive their city health benefits, go into Medicare, pay Medicare B, buy a Medigap. And if they're lucky to get into a Medigap, because if they're over 65 and they have pre-existing conditions, which is probably just about every American over 65, they're going to have a lot of premium to pay in order to get a plan. If they are under 65 years old and disabled, like a lot of our 9/11 people, they will never get into a Medigap plan if they're under 65 years old. These ladies and gentlemen that live in these CCRCs, they planned out their future end of life with care, with dignity. And they now are being forced to either eat the full burden of their cost of health insurance or leave their end of life plan. Why would we do that to people? And you're also forcing people, like I have a firefighter who was a 9/11 responder, moved to Florida, had both of his kidneys removed, just had a transplant. The hospital that he is currently in today is telling him, you're probably going to need another transplant because your body is rejecting this kidney. I'm so sorry, but we don't accept Medicare Advantage plan. You will need to find another doctor in another hospital. Why would we do this to people? And that's only two things. If you want, we can extend this meeting for another hour and I could tell you all the other horrible things. But I wouldn't be having successful litigation and be litigating again if this plan was so perfect. Medicare Advantage plans were brought about in 1996 under the Clinton administration as an option, not something to be thrown into and mandated at the expense of mandating, at the expense of mandating people into them and privatizing the public health benefit of Medicare. So with all that, prior authorizations, we had mentioned that before, the network, doctors not accepting them. I've already got 500 affidavits right now from hospitals, doctors, and retirees that they're not accepting Medicare Advantage plans. Why would we do that?
And they accept Medicare.
They accept Medicare. 96% of the doctors in America accept Medicare. The others that don't are typically pediatricians or psychiatrists. Now, Medicare Advantage, Aetna's talking points recently in their seminars was 88% of the doctors retirees currently see. There's 183,000 of us, by the way, not 250,000 like they keep saying. But according to the last actuary report, there's 183,000 retirees. That means 88% of our doctors that we currently see are in the Aetna network. And then they said there's another 8 to 10% of doctors that are known to accept Medicare Advantage. And we said, what the heck does that mean? And they said, well, those doctors received a Medicare Advantage for payment at least once in the last 12 months. Well, just because they received an Advantage plan for payment at least once in the last 12 months doesn't mean we're not going to have a seamless issue with them accepting payment again. Maybe they did it because the patient was a friend, or maybe they did a favor, or maybe they did it and they didn't like it and don't want to do it again. That doesn't give you a guarantee. Right now, if the doctor accepts Medicare, you go. If the doctor says, look, you need to go get an MRI, go down the block, or you need an X-ray, or you need to go have surgery, or I need to meet me in the hospital, your test came back not so good, you go, you get it done. With Medicare Advantage, you have to ask for the doctor has to ask for prior authorization. They have to wait for approvals. It could take a couple days to up to 2 weeks. This is not the time of our lives to be doing this. And besides the fact, I still have to fight that you were earned and paid for these benefits while you work during your tenure in your career. And I have to fight for that because you already paid for it. They shouldn't be negotiating away your benefit.
Right, that's right. That's right.
Amen.
Exactly.
I worked
Amen.
I worked over 35 years for the city, and yes, I had an expectation that
And you should keep it up. I mean, that should be your right.
Pressure your union leader and educate your workers in whatever video you want that you think that they would listen to. You tell me the message, I will make that customized just for you.
Good. Mariana, could you kindly reinforce the idea of not opting out or doing anything now until when?
Yes. Okay. So this is where your anxiety kicks in, because you realize there's a window, May 1st to June 30th. We know our litigation is going to go in a few weeks. We know we're already requesting the judge for a preliminary injunction to stop this thing like we did the last time, right? We also know that the city and the unions and the insurance company have to keep rolling out this implementation because that's their job. Our job is to stop it. So right now, if you were to, there's really no, I don't like that word opt out. There's really no opt out. What they're saying to you is you can opt out of, we're going to auto enroll you into Medicare Advantage Aetna, but if you don't like it, you can opt out into HIP VIP. And the only place HIP VIP is available to you, which is also, by the way, a Medicare Advantage plan, is the 5 boroughs, Nassau, Suffolk, Rockland, Westchester, Orange. So if you don't live in one of those counties, then HIP VIP isn't for you. But remind you, it is also a Medicare Advantage plan. So now you've got retirees all over the country or don't live in those boroughs or in those counties in the state of New York. Now what? They have to do what they call waive. And that means waive your city health benefits. Now, when you waive your city health benefits, you are losing your Medicare B reimbursement. If you're a high earner, you lose your IRMA reimbursement. In some unions, you're losing your prescription drug plan and the rest of your welfare fund benefits. So you are completely waiving all of the benefits you earned and paid for, and they're not telling you this. So like, for example, PSC union, CWA 1180, the teachers will lose their welfare fund benefits. The teachers will lose their drug benefit, one that they're paying for in the city. They're going to have to buy that on the outside. This is all a problem. And it needs to be said like that. You earned and paid for that. That's your benefit. No one should be giving you a decision where your back's against the wall that you either take this inferior benefit or we give you nothing. And that's because if you remember, when our healthcare plans were founded, it was founded on the basis of choice. You had choice the entire time.
So Mariana, we have somebody else that is raising her hand, but I just want to have a follow-up point to what you just said, because you mentioned the PSC, and there's several people in this call that belong to the PSC and they're retirees. And they're telling us, just like you said, you're going to be without welfare fund, and we are trying our best to keep them.
Yes.
What should be our pushback to tell? I mean, tomorrow there's going to be a meeting with Aetna and all of us as retirees. So what should we be pushing for at that meeting?
That's with your PSC retiree group and Aetna?
Yes.
So that group, they're not going to be able, pushing back on them. I don't think you're going to get anywhere. You need to push back on the union and your council and OLR. I mean, this is where the fight is the mayor and the council, to be quite honest with you. They're doing this to you.
Okay, so talking about the council, there is one question on the chat that says, what is Eric Butcher's position? I know he voted not to amend the code, but I would love for him to verbalize his opposition to this plan and allow us this choice.
You and me
could you
both.
We need a resolution.
Tell us.
Tell us, Tito.
Oh, what do I don't know exactly how to formulate it. However, you did mention a bill that's being pushed that you're trying to get into the city council. If we can pass a resolution by this club to endorse that resolution, then we can go to our elected officials and say, our club endorses this resolution. Where do you stand? So
I like
You mean, that's great. You mean the legislation that she's putting forward?
that's correct.
Yes.
That's correct. But that legislation should be adopted through a resolution of this club. And I don't know when to do this or if I can do this, but I would like to see that in this club before we end this meeting.
Great.
Lisette, do this with me. I'm
Mhm.
hoping that I should have a bill number by next week. And I will, you and I schedule on your calendar to touch base with me Monday night or
Mhm.
Tuesday. Okay. If you don't hear from me Monday night, you call me Tuesday. I
Mhm.
should hopefully, I'm hoping to know that I may possibly be able to get this bill introduced. If that's the case, then the next stated meeting, I think, is next Thursday. And I will probably need about 50 people to meet me at City Hall. I will let you know Monday night or Tuesday. If that's the case, then you can adopt whatever resolution you want, because that's the time then we are going to need to start pressuring City Council to sign on to that bill as a co-signer. And because we know the mayor's going to try to veto this, we need to get like 34 votes. And if that's the case, we need to be able to pressure with whatever resolution you want to do in other Democratic clubs around the city of New York. We need to get them to do these resolutions, come together and start pressuring all of the city council persons in all of their districts to sign on as a co-signer onto that bill so that it beats the override.
So
Amen.
you
So,
don't feel that we can pass a resolution tonight?
Okay. Well, that's
Tito,
up to you guys.
we have 38 people now, and I don't know, Evelyn, are you still here? Evelyn
Yes.
Suarez is the president. Would you like us to have a discussion about such a resolution?
Well,
Um,
right now, we're having such a great meeting. Everybody's so interested on the topic. I would advise to continue, and I would just take 5 minutes to 8 to give a quick review, but continue with the program because it's lovely. And I think doing a resolution now,
Okay, but Evelyn, I think that we have to go beyond lovely. I mean, this is something that is the fight of our lives. So if I could suggest to all of you, it's 7:40 now, and I know that we had mentioned to Mariana that she was going to be only until 7:15, so we are taking more time supposed to, Mariana, and we have to thank you for your time. And we will have enough time to have the meeting, the subsequent meeting for the CRDC people. So whoever is in this call that belongs to the club, please stay so that we can continue the discussion. And let's give a round of applause to Betty that came and Mariana that also has been and will stay with us until the end. And let's keep supporting the fight because it's our fight. It is for us. So Mariana, would you like to say closing words?
I just want to say thank you.
I would like to thank Marianne so much for bringing us this program that is so important to the club. And thank you so much for joining us today. Hope to see
thanks,
you.
Thank you. Thank you,
Thanks for
Mariana. Thank
having
you,
me.
Betty. Have a
Thank
good night,
you.
Mariana and Betty. And then the rest will stay. Betty, you want to say
Yeah,
something?
I just
before
have
you
one
leave?
question. Yeah, I
Yes.
have one question. My council member is Keith Powers.
Uh-huh.
And I think this is a wonderful idea of Tito to bring a resolution to his club, but I'm not a member of a club. Do you know which club he comes out of? Do you happen to know?
I do not know.
I think it would be For Freedoms.
But
Which one?
I think it would be For Freedoms Democratic Club is the club that represents the Upper East Side that
No,
has overlap.
She's in, no, Stuyvesant
She's in
Town.
Stuyvesant.
Stuyvesant Town.
right, that's right.
Okay.
All
Betty,
right,
but
I'll
we
find
can,
out.
Betty, we can find
look
out.
it up.
We can find out and send you information. And I
Oh,
know
thank
that
you. I would appreciate that. I guess I could try to find out, but I don't know if it's Tilden or, I don't know.
Okay.
I'm not sure.
But Betty, just for you to know, there's another person in the call that also lives in Stuyvesant.
Really?
So yes, Pastoriza. So, and she's a good friend of mine. So I will volunteer
Great.
her as well to join with you forces, and let's see where we take this.
Thank you.
Okay.
I appreciate
Okay,
this.
Betty.
This was very energizing. I liked meeting all together. Thank you. Thank you,
Amen.
Marianne.
Amen. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
Good night,
So-
everyone.
Good night, my
Bye,
dear.
thank
Bye-bye.
you.
Thank you. Rest.
To clarify, who should drop off now at this point? Is if we're not part of the Chelsea Club, we're done with that.
No, I think, Evelyn, everybody can stay if they want to, right? Or not?
Definitely. It's just a briefing, you're welcome to stay and find out what we're doing.
But Lizette, so we're not voting on a resolution tonight.
Yeah,
that what-
that's still my question. Why,
I wish.
why can't, I'm not clear on why we can't put forth a resolution. Can someone explain it to me?
And to me too.
Because
Layla has her hand up. Layla?
Thank you, Roberta. I would like to, I'm not sure that Tito made a motion, but if he has, I would like to second the motion. I think it is really important that CRDC takes a formal position in the form of a resolution. I do not know whether that should be done at that particular meeting or if it is undertaken by the executive committee. I'm not totally sure about the procedure, but and then the process. But I would really encourage the club to consider Tito's suggestion for a resolution.
yes, please.
So I don't know if anyone has more clarity as to how resolutions come to be. Can we do it tonight and take a vote? If that is procedurally correct, I would like to propose that we do that.
I like to put a motion to pass a resolution supporting the bill.
Can I please say something before you put your motion, Tito? I'm sorry. Can I please just say something? As for the reason that I believe we should not make a resolution now, because the purpose of this meeting, right, wasn't for us to make a resolution or to vote on something. We did not inform, like the other elected officials, our other executive members. I don't know even if we have a quorum right now to make a.
So Evelyn, you said your piece, but it was very educational. It was very informative. But unless we take action, it means nothing.
It means nothing.
So I like to put a motion that we pass a resolution supporting Mariana, how do you pronounce the name? Pezzicola now.
No, Pizzitola.
Pezzitola's proposed bill. And I'd like to put a motion on the floor to that. And because again, I strongly feel that as good, informative that this meeting was, unless we take action on it, it doesn't mean anything.
We need a quorum.
My motion.
How many people are we? How many people are here?
If someone counts, how many?
24.
And do we have a quorum? There's a way of doing things and we need a quorum to make.
Do we have a quorum? Can
No,
somebody?
we don't.
Hold on. Can we please find out if we have enough executive members that we have a quorum?
Do a roll call.
Exactly. Let's do that because we're not gonna make a motion.
Understood. Let's
Have
do
a
a roll call. Let's do a roll call.
Let's make a roll call. See how many executive members are here, please.
I don't see the names here. I don't see enough.
Yeah, you should. It says everybody's name underneath.
No. Of course, but in terms of the executive committee, I don't see. And the rest, I mean, a resolution is voted only by the executive or by the.
Isn't it by
just
every members of the
yes,
club?
exactly. I'm just going back to Leila's question in terms of the process. How is the resolution done in our club?
24 people here.
Votes for it.
I believe, I could be wrong. I believe that we make motions on our executive meetings. When we have regular meetings, general meetings, we have discussions, we speak, that I have known of for 15 years. Someone can remember, I don't recall ever making a motion on a general meeting. Why? I don't know. Maybe we can. I'm not saying we can't, but I have never done it.
Tito, could I give a friendly amendment to your motion?
Sorry about that.
Knowing that hopefully, like Mariana said, we're going to have a number for next week. Paula McKinnon is asking, where are the bylaws to determine this?
I have my bylaws right here in front of me.
Oh, good. So does it
Okay,
have
no, I have the
about the
Constitution here, but the only thing, I don't have my reading glasses, so that's why I can't. I've been trying all this time to see what, but I can't find my reading glasses. So whatever notes I did, it took me like an hour trying to focus and look to make sure that what I was doing was correct. But I will promise everyone, if you want, we can have another meeting.
No.
Okay? Or because we can have a meeting in 2 days. I don't know. I really don't know if you do. Can anybody has any
could we get a sense
having motions done on our general meetings? I believe not.
Excuse me, can I talk?
Yes, Susan.
We have 24 people at this meeting right now, 22 people participating. So I don't understand. Why can't we have some kind of motion that the people, how many people do we have who are members of the club? Can't we get some kind of
members to the club? In our last election, we had 90 people that voted. So 20 people compared to 90 people or 300 members that we have. You know, there's a way of doing things, and I'm sorry that I wasn't very well informed on this. It was never brought up to me as to make a motion on a general meeting. I only been president.
Evelyn, I have a suggestion. And my suggestion is that we take a vote about the sense of this meeting. And the sense of this meeting is that we have heard about this very, very important thing, which is affecting New York City retirees. And we want to expand our involvement in this by doing a subsequent letter. I'm not sure which
Motion.
Vote. Pardon?
Look, when is the next executive meeting? Maybe we can take it up then.
Well, Thursday.
Can I make a comment?
Okay,
I have a
I'm sorry,
motion.
Leila.
I have a motion.
Can I make a comment?
I have a motion, and I'd like to get that clarified. If you can answer that, then I can withdraw my motion.
Can I make a comment to the motion?
Yeah, of course.
Thank you. Maybe what we can do is actually take a vote tonight. That would be a reflection of the position of this group here and now, with the understanding that we may not have a quorum, and submit this vote and this position to the executive committee for ratification. So that at executive committee, we would have a quorum and we would have the ability to ratify this vote. But at least we would register the position of this group right here, right now, in support.
I second that.
I suggested the sense of the meeting, Because that's
Yeah.
a mixture of all kinds of people here, some of whom are CRDC, some of whom are friends, whatever, and we do that, we can take it up at our next meeting.
Okay, I'll agree to that friendly amendment.
Can I, again, I am willing to work with everyone here. I am not going to vote on this motion because I don't recall ever doing a motion on meetings. And I'm willing to work with y'all. I'll wait 2 days from now. We can have another meeting with the executives, call them in, tell them the importance of this. But I am not going to start making different rules for different meetings when things, come up. So if everybody, I'm willing to work with everybody. If you want to do that voting, so you can share with it on our next executive instead of 2 days, so we can show them, I would allow that. That's not a problem.
Okay,
Because
so
this is very
Evelyn,
important.
Evelyn, so you are allowing to at least get the sense of the group, like Leila was
Correct.
saying.
That's not a problem.
Before people leave, can we just ask them to raise their hands if they will be in favor of such a resolution?
First of all, there has to be a second.
I second it.
Okay,
Second it too.
okay.
Excuse me, but the point is, we are not available to have a real resolution.
It's not a resolution.
So the
Sense of the group. It's a
May I
sense of the
finish?
body.
What I
That's
said was the
Robert's
sense
Rules
of
of
the
Order.
meeting. So if the sense of the meeting is to take this up, to continue this important thing, to bring it to
You
our
have incentive
executive
part?
meeting.
Yes.
I'm happy to vote for that. I'm not voting for any resolution.
No, there's no
my
resolution.
idea.
It's the sense of
meeting.
the meeting.
That's fine. I accept that friendly amendment. Let's move to question.
Okay, close the
Can we
question.
vote on it?
Okay, I don't
We're
see.
not voting. It's not.
No, but getting the
You-
sense of
you-
the group.
Okay. No
We
problem.
can call it a survey rather than a vote.
It's
So
a
we're gonna do a
survey.
survey.
A survey.
No, it's not.
Yeah, that
Oh,
sounds
can
great.
everybody
Call it
raise
what you
their
like.
hand?
Let's vote on it.
Yes.
Okay, so
Okay,
raise
so-
your hand either physically or use the
Yes.
raise hand.
Somebody
Okay.
counting?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13.
Only members of the club are voting, right?
Right. So, okay.
Donna Maria, you still there?
Donna came back. Yes, Donna's back.
Donna, we're asking for the sense of the group in terms of having a further discussion for a resolution on this matter to support the.
But I missed the whole discussion. I just came back on.
And Mary, are you there? Mary Di Gregorio? Rita Weinstein, Stu, Terry, Rich, Mildred. So the people that are not raising their hands, Lisa, are you there?
Hello? This is Mary. I'm not a member of the group.
Ah, that's why. Okay. But
Yeah.
we're just
I'm
getting
here,
a
but I'm
sense
not
of
a
the
member.
group.
And why not? And why not, Lisa?
I live in Brooklyn.
Oh, you can still be a member. You can
Wait a
still
minute.
be a member.
Well,
We have
I'd love to be a member of this group.
Stop, people.
Can we have some order,
Let's
please?
stop, like really.
Can we have some order? Let's finish this so that we can move on, please.
Yes.
If we don't have the vote to get the sense of this group, then let's move on. But if we do, let's just do it and move on, please. We got 13 votes out of what, 24?
Yeah, but 24 people doesn't, some of these people are not members of the club.
I understand. So what?
Find out how many, if you define how many members of the club, so you can define how many are voting in support of it out of the members. And just to point out, there's someone, Rich is saying in the chat, he's unable to raise his hand, but he votes yes.
Okay, good. Thank you. So we have 14.
14. Okay. And how many people are members of the club online now? Is there a way of knowing?
Maybe we can put how about if we just do this? All members
Only members of the club that are allowed to vote, raise your hand. Please, only members.
I thought we did that.
Who's counting?
Oh, I
Count.
can't see. Did we get it?
I'm not seeing the hands. Roberta, can you see it?
Yeah, Donna just added, so it'll be 15. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. I get 13, 14. I get 14.
Okay,
You got-
and
you
how
got-
many members that are here opposed? Raise your hand. Everyone else, lower your hand, please. So this way we get an accurate count, more or less, okay?
Rita, are you,
No.
did you just not lower your hand, Rita? Or are you against? Because your hand is still up. And Susan, your
I'm
hand is
lowering
still,
my hand.
okay. So,
So how many hands do we have now?
I see one person against this. Paula, did you mean to be
No,
against?
no.
Okay, you just
Sorry
didn't
about that.
lower your hand.
My hand was up physically. I had my hand up. I'll take it down because I wanted to just say a few things about this from someone from the perspective of, well, you do your thing and then maybe
Let's
if you don't
finish
mind,
the
I could
vote,
speak for a second.
Okay.
Let's
Yeah.
finish
Excuse
this.
me, can I finish
Let's
this,
finish
please?
the vote.
Okay, this
Yes,
is
let's
14
fin-
out of 14. Is that correct?
So that means that all members vote yes. So let's put down on the letter that yes, 15 people. You can even put more, like 26, because the people that are here do count. They do have an opinion, right? So
Okay.
let's just put everybody that they're very interested in this topic because it's important to retirees to get what they deserve.
Great.
So-
Thank you. Great.
So let me understand, we're taking this to the exec,
Yes.
the exec, and when will that happen?
Our next executive meeting is, I'll tell you right now, is the 4th of May.
Well, we
That's
need to
too-
do it
that-
before.
No, we need to do it sooner than that.
That's why I suggested
An
in 2 or
executive.
3 days, we would have a meeting. We can call a meeting on this subject because you need a resolution before the 4th.
Okay, that's fine. 3 days, good.
Okay? 3 days, that's fine. So we have to get our lovely program ladies and, whoever can send the Zoom and get it together. I can send it. All right,
Thank
so 3 days
Thank-
from today, we'll take it up to the executive.
Thank you, Evelyn.
Thank
And
you,
thank
Evelyn.
you all for understanding. I do appreciate it.
And Evelyn, would you like to provide the last the information that was pending so that
Yeah,
we can vote? Okay.
Say that again, Lisa, I'm sorry.
I know that you had some report to do before it's over and it's almost 8 o'clock, so I don't want to extend it.
One minute, it's sufficient. So I want to welcome everybody back and thank you so much for joining us for this very important meeting we had. And also, if you're not a member, please become a member. This year, it's free. So it's the best time to join and you get to know us better. From State Committee Woman, she doesn't have nothing to report right now from the state, but she is looking forward to our lovely event. So please buy tickets. If you don't have a ticket, please buy a ticket. And for programming, like Lisette had mentioned, they are going to have another discussion, about your retiree benefits. And what else do I have here? Like I said, it took me like 2 hours because I don't have my reading glasses. I was just too busy today. And the program we did, yeah, and that's about it.
I think there's more stuff on the program that we need to make a schedule for. For instance, Community Land Trust needs to, I like to bring somebody in around that. I like to bring somebody in around pedestrian safety. Where can we take that up? And
You
what-
take that up with the program committee when when we have our executive meetings. If they ask for suggestions, that's where you give your suggestions,
Okay.
or you can go straight to the program committee as well, which is Roberta, Lisette, Inger, and Bert, I believe.
Okay, so I guess my question is, when is the program committee meeting so that I can present this.
Anybody, ladies?
Well, Tito, you're part of the program committee, so we have to decide.
Oh,
we
he
have
is
to-
as well. Look at that.
We have to decide when are we meeting again, and let's talk about it when this meeting is over. But certainly, we have to give
Okay.
the dates, yes.
Okay.
And I want to make sure, Evelyn, that you have realized that 2 people have said that they would like to join, and I'm so glad to see that.
Hey,
Rich and Mary de
fantastic.
Gregorio. So make sure that you share with us your email addresses so that we can send you the membership application and just join us, and it will be wonderful to.
The membership application is on the website. They could
Yes.
fill it out. They don't have
They
to be
can do
sent
that.
it.
Thank
Great.
you, and welcome.
So can we make a motion to adjourn?
Yes, we can. Thank you,
Okay.
everyone, once again for coming. Buy tickets. If you're not a member, be a member. It's free, like the commercial.
Okay.
Have a
And I want
great
to,
night, everyone.
and I want to thank all the members of this committee.
Mhm.
Roberta, Leila, Tito, Bert, and myself, because we made it possible, and let's continue the good work. Thank
It
you. And
was
have,
a wonderful forum. Thank you.
Thank
And
you.
definitely,
you.
I'm so sorry, but the program committee is an excellent committee. You can all verify that, right? Thank you so much.
Roberta, let's make sure that you save the chat, please, before you leave.
I'd be happy to do that. I have no
Great.
idea how to do it, but I'm sure I'm going to find out really quickly.
Yeah, the main thing is not to close it before we save it.
To close the people that are on.
No, we have to save the chat, and there is a little button here.
Can you do it?
Let me
Can you?
see. No, because you're the host.
I can make you the host. Do you know how to do it? Because I can make you the host.
Okay, send
Uh,
it, make me the host, and let me see if I can see where it is.
Say good night, Gracie.
Good night, my dear. Everybody, have a good night.
Good night, everybody.
And you
Thank you
can
for a
stop the
wonderful
recording.
program.
Thank you, Leila.
very
Yeah,
much.
that was a good program. Thank you.
Thanks
Thank
for
you.
coming.
Thank
Did
you,
a great
Joan.
job.
Okay,
night,
Liz,
everyone.
Lizette,
Wait, how do we leave?
there should be a leave button down at the bottom right. Lizette,
Yes,
do you
Yep,
see
yes.
what
the
you have?
leave button.
Did you do it?
All right.
No, I
have a
haven't
good
done
night.
it yet. Let's stay the 2 of us together, Roberta. Let's say bye-bye
See.
to everybody.
Okay.
And Lisette, can you keep me on too? Because I would like to say something, please.
Sí.
Thank you. I don't think it's working.
Well, people don't know, maybe people don't know how to leave.
They have to press the button that says leave. They're doing it. Good
Yeah,
night, everybody.
Good night. I think
Roberta,
as the host, you can knock
Yes.
somebody off.
Yeah, you're right.
I'm going to stop the video, okay?
Sure,
stop
you,
the
well, you're
video.
the host, so you can stop it. Up at the top, that I do know how to do.
Is Inga still here with us?